blizzard hit without mercy, transforming the December evening into a wall of white that swallowed highways and silenced the city. Visibility dropped to near zero, and the temperature plummeted well below freezing. By 7 o'clock, emergency services were urging everyone to stay home, warning that roads were becoming impassable. Lucas Bennett stood in his small auto repair shop on the outskirts of town, wiping grease from his hands as he prepared to close up for the night. At 34, he had been running Bennett's auto service for 8 years, building a modest but loyal customer base through honest work and fair prices. The shop wasn't glamorous, and Lucas would never be wealthy, but he took pride in keeping his neighbors' vehicles running and helping people when they needed it most. The shop phone rang just as Lucas was turning off the lights. He almost didn't answer, figuring it was a telemarketer or a wrong number. But something made him pick up. "It's Bennett's auto service," he said, tucking the phone between his shoulder and ear as he continued organizing tools. Please, I need help." The voice on the other end was female, strained with desperation and tears. "My car broke down, and I know the weather is terrible, but I have to get home to my daughter. She's only 6 years old, and she's with a babysitter who has to leave soon. I've called every service, and no one will come out in this storm." Lucas glanced out the window at the blizzard raging outside. "Ma'am, I understand your situation, but the roads are dangerous right now. Where are you stranded?" "Highway 47, about 15 miles outside town near the old Miller farm. My car just died. Won't start, won't do anything, and my phone is almost dead. Please, I'm begging you. My daughter's babysitter has her own family to get to, and if I don't get home soon, Sophia will be alone." Lucas rubbed his face, thinking, Highway 47 in this weather would be treacherous. The smart thing, the safe thing, would be to tell this woman to call emergency services and wait in her car with blankets and hazard lights on until the storm passed. But he thought about that little girl waiting for her mother, the babysitter who had to leave, the fear in this woman's voice. He thought about his own childhood, nights when his single mother had worked late and he had waited anxiously for her to come home. "What's your name, ma'am?" "Victoria. Victoria Ashford." "Okay, Victoria. I'm Lucas Bennett. I'm going to come get you, but I need you to stay in your car with the doors locked until I arrive. Keep your phone on battery save mode. I have a truck with 4-wheel drive, and I'll bring tools to either fix your car or tow it. Hang tight." "Thank you," Victoria said, her voice breaking. "Thank you so much. I don't know how to repay you for this. Just stay safe until I get there." Lucas bundled up in his warmest coat, grabbed his emergency kit and a tow chain, and loaded everything into his heavy-duty pickup truck. The vehicle was old but reliable, with the winter tires and 4-wheel drive that had gotten him through many bad storms. Still, as he pulled out of the shop and into the blizzard, he wondered if he was being reckless. The drive to Highway 47 took nearly 45 minutes, more than twice the normal time. Lucas crept along at 20 miles per hour, his headlights barely penetrating the swirling snow. Twice he nearly slid off the road, catching the drift just in time and correcting. The radio crackled with warnings about the storm intensifying, urging all travelers to find shelter immediately. Finally, through the white chaos, Lucas spotted the shape of a vehicle on the shoulder. As he approached, he could make out a Mercedes SUV, expensive and sleek, completely out of place on this rural highway. He pulled up behind it and grabbed his flashlight. The driver's door opened, and a woman emerged into the storm. Even through the snow and darkness, Lucas could tell she was dressed inappropriately for a blizzard. She wore a red dress that looked like it belonged at a corporate holiday party, high heels that sank into the snow, and only a thin coat that did little against the brutal cold. Her wavy brown hair whipped around her face, and she was shivering violently. "Victoria," Lucas called out. "Yes, thank God you're here. I was starting to think no one would come." Lucas noticed she was holding something, a wrapped package clutched against her chest, as if it were precious cargo. "Let's get you in my truck where it's warm. Then I'll look at your car." He guided her to the passenger seat of his pickup, where the heater was running full blast. Victoria collapsed into the seat, still shaking from cold. "Why are you dressed like that?" Lucas asked, concerned about possible hypothermia. "Were you at an event?" "Company holiday party. Downtown at the Riverside Hotel. I'm new to the area, started my job 3 weeks ago. The party ran late, and I didn't realize how bad the weather was getting until I was already on the road home. Then my car just died." Victoria looked at the wrapped package in her lap. "I have to get home. Sophia is waiting. She asked me this morning if I would be home to tuck her in tonight, and I promised I would." "What's in the package?" Lucas asked as he grabbed his tools and prepared to assess her vehicle. "It's a doll, the one Sophia has been asking for all year. It was supposed to be her Christmas present, but the party had a gift exchange, and someone brought this exact doll. When I won it in the exchange, I knew I had to bring it home tonight. Sophia's been having a hard time adjusting to the move, to me working so much, to everything being different. I thought bringing this doll home tonight, showing her I remember what she wants, might help her feel more secure." Lucas felt his heart twist. "I'll do everything I can to get you home to her. Let me check the car." Spent 20 minutes examining Victoria's Mercedes in the brutal cold. The diagnosis was clear. The alternator had failed, and the battery was dead. In normal circumstances, it would be a relatively simple fix, but in this blizzard, with limited tools and no shelter, attempting the repair was dangerous and time-consuming. Lucas returned to his truck, brushing snow off his coat. "Your alternator is shot. I can't fix it here in these conditions, but I can tow your car back to my shop and drive you home." "Where do you live?" "Willow Creek subdivision, about 30 miles from here." Lucas did the mental calculation. The shop was 15 miles in one direction. Willow Creek was 30 miles in another, mostly on back roads that would be even worse than the highway in this weather. The entire round trip would take hours in these conditions, and the storm was only getting worse. "That's a long drive in this weather," Lucas said honestly, "but I'll get you there. Let me hook up the tow." "I can't ask you to do that. You've already done so much." "You're not asking. I'm offering. Your daughter needs her mom home. That's all that matters right now." Lucas worked quickly to attach the tow chain, his fingers going numb despite his gloves. The wind howled around him, and snow accumulated on his shoulders and back. Finally, with Victoria's Mercedes secured, he climbed back into his truck. The drive to Willow Creek was grueling. Lucas had to stop several times to clear ice from his windshield wipers and to navigate particularly bad sections of road where the snow had drifted dangerously high. Victoria sat mostly silent beside him, occasionally checking her dying phone and clutching the wrapped doll like a lifeline. "Tell me about Sophia," Lucas said, partly to keep himself alert, and partly because he was genuinely curious about the little girl who was driving this entire rescue mission. Victoria's face softened. "She's 6 years old, incredibly smart, and very sensitive. She's been through a lot recently. Her father and I divorced last year. It was amicable, but still hard on her. Then I got offered this new position, a really significant career opportunity. But it meant moving away from everything familiar. New city, new school, new home. Sophia's been brave about it, but I know she's struggling. She asks a lot if this place will feel like home, if we're going to stay here, if things will be okay. And the doll, she saw it in a store window the day we moved here. She didn't ask for it. She rarely asks for things directly, but I saw her face. The doll looked like her, same curly brown hair, same dimples. She stood at that window for 10 minutes, just looking at it. I made a mental note to get it for Christmas. When it turned up at tonight's gift exchange, it felt like fate." "What kind of work do you do?" Lucas asked, navigating around an abandoned car on the shoulder. "I'm in corporate management. I recently became the CEO of Ashford Industries. It's a family business, actually. My late father started it, and my brother has been running it since Dad died 5 years ago. But the company was struggling, and the board decided it was time for new leadership. They offered me the position, which meant coming back to my hometown and taking over. It's a huge responsibility and a massive career opportunity, but it's also been overwhelming, especially while trying to be there for Sophia. Lucas glanced at her, reassessing. She wasn't just some corporate executive. She was a CEO, someone who likely made more in a month than he made in a year. And yet, here she was, willing to brave a blizzard for a toy that would make her daughter smile. Ferd Industries, Lucas repeated. That's the manufacturing company, right? The one that makes industrial equipment. Yes, you've heard of it? Everyone around here has heard of it. It's one of the biggest employers in the region. My uncle worked there for 20 years before he retired. I hope he had a good experience. I'm trying to make improvements to make it a better place to work. But there's resistance to change, Ken, and I'm still figuring out how to balance corporate responsibilities with being the mother Sophia needs. They drove in silence for a while, the truck's engine straining against the wind and snow. Lucas had to stop twice more to clear ice, and once to help another stranded motorist who had gone into a ditch. By the time they finally reached the Willow Creek subdivision, it was past 10 o'clock, and Lucas had been driving through the blizzard for nearly 3 hours. The subdivision was upscale, with large homes set back from the road behind elegant landscaping. Victoria directed him to a 2-story colonial with a covered porch and warm lights glowing in the windows. As soon as the truck stopped, Victoria was opening the door, the wrapped doll clutched in her arms. Thank you, Lucas. I don't have adequate words to express my gratitude. You risked your life to help a stranger. Get inside and warm up, and enjoy your daughter's face when she sees that doll. Lucas expected Victoria to simply rush inside, but instead she paused. Please, come in for a few minutes. Warm up before you drive back. I can make coffee, offer you some food. It's the least I can do. I should get going. The roads aren't getting any better. Okay. You've been driving for hours in sub-zero temperatures. Please, 10 minutes to warm up and have something to drink. I insist. Something in her tone, a combination of genuine gratitude and quiet authority, made Lucas agree. He followed her to the front door, brushing snow off his coat as Victoria unlocked it. They entered to find a young woman, presumably the babysitter, practically jumping with relief. Mrs. Ashford, thank God you're here. I was so worried. Sophia's been asking for you every 10 minutes. I'm so sorry, Emma. Thank you for staying. Please, be careful driving home. The babysitter left quickly, clearly eager to get to her own family. Victoria called up the stairs, her voice warm and full of love. Sophia, baby mommy's home. Small footsteps thundered on the stairs, and a little girl appeared, a miniature version of Victoria with the same wavy brown hair and delicate features. She wore pajamas decorated with stars. Her face was tight with worry that immediately dissolved into joy when she saw her mother. Mommy, you came home. The babysitter said you might not make it because of the storm. Victoria knelt and embraced her daughter. I promised I would be here to tuck you in. Remember? Mommy keeps her promises. She pulled back and held up the wrapped package. And I brought you something special. Sophia's eyes went wide as she carefully unwrapped the doll. When she saw what it was, her face transformed with pure joy. It's the doll, the one from the window. Mommy, how did you find her? Magic, Victoria said with a smile. Christmas magic. Sophia hugged the doll, then noticed Lucas standing awkwardly by the door, dripping melted snow onto the entryway mat. Who's that man? This is Mr. Bennett. He's a very kind man who helped Mommy get home through the storm. Can you say thank you? Thank you for bringing Mommy home, Sophia said solemnly. You're very welcome, Lucas replied, feeling a lump in his throat at the scene. This was why he had driven through a blizzard. Not for money or recognition, but for this moment. A mother keeping a promise to her daughter. A little girl's face lit up with joy. Victoria got Sophia settled with her new doll, promising to tuck her in shortly, then led Lucas to the kitchen. The home was beautifully decorated, but lived in, not the sterile showcase he might have expected from a CEO's house. There were Sophia's drawings on the refrigerator, school papers on the counter, evidence of real life being lived here. Victoria made coffee with practiced efficiency, then pushed a cup toward Lucas along with a container of cookies. "Please, eat something. You must be starving." "I'm fine, really?" "Yes. You drove through a blizzard to help a complete stranger. You risked your life because I called asking for help. That's not something I take lightly. Please, sit for a few minutes." Lucas sat, accepting the coffee gratefully. The warmth of the house was making him realize just how cold he had been. "Can I ask you something?" Victoria said, sitting across from him. "Why did you come? You didn't know me. You had no obligation to risk your safety. You could have told me to call emergency services and hung up. Why did you drive all that way in dangerous conditions?" Lucas thought about the question. "Because you needed help, and I could provide it. Because I thought about your daughter waiting for you, and I couldn't just leave you stranded, knowing she was alone. I don't know. I guess I just believe we're supposed to help each other, especially in difficult situations." Most people don't actually believe that. Most people talk about helping others, but find reasons why it's impractical or inconvenient when actually called upon to do it. "Maybe I'm not most people," Victoria smiled. "No, you're definitely not." She pulled out her phone. "I want to pay you for your time and for the tow." "What do I owe you?" "Nothing. You don't owe me anything, Lucas. You spent hours helping me. Your time is valuable. Please let me compensate you fairly. I didn't do it for money. I did it because it was the right thing to do. If you want to pay it forward by helping someone else someday, that's payment enough." Victoria studied him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "You're a rare person, Lucas Bennett. The world needs more people like you." They talked for another 20 minutes, Victoria insisting Lucas finish the coffee and warm up thoroughly before attempting the drive back. She asked about his business, his life, his dreams. Lucas found himself opening up in ways he usually didn't with strangers. "Okay," drawn out by her genuine interest and warmth. Finally, knowing the drive back would be long and dangerous, Lucas stood to leave. Victoria walked him to the door, but before he left, she pressed a business card into his hand. "This has my direct office number and my email. Lucas, I meant what I said about compensation. I know you don't want money, but please, if there's ever anything I can do for you or your business, call me. I'm serious. I appreciate that, but I'm really fine. Just take care of Sophia and enjoy watching her play with that doll." The drive back to town took another 2 hours. By the time Lucas finally made it home, it was well past midnight, and he was exhausted beyond measure. He fell into bed without even taking off all his clothes, his body aching from the strain of driving in such conditions. He didn't think much more about that night, filing it away as one of those experiences that made life meaningful. A reminder that helping others was its own reward. 3 weeks later, Lucas was working on a particularly stubborn transmission when his shop phone rang. Bennett's Auto Service. "Lucas, this is Victoria Ashford. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time." Lucas was surprised to hear from her. "Mrs. Ashford? No, it's fine. How are you? How's Sophia?" "We're both well. Sophia sleeps with that doll every night, and she tells everyone about the kind man who brought her mommy home through the blizzard. But I'm actually calling about something professional. Do you have a few minutes to talk?" "Sure. Let me just finish up with this car, and I'll call you back." 10 minutes later, Lucas returned the call from his small office. Victoria got straight to the point. "Lucas, Ashford Industries has a fleet of about 200 vehicles, trucks, vans, company cars, various equipment. We currently contract with a large automotive service chain for all our maintenance and repairs. But I've been reviewing our expenses and service records, and I'm not satisfied with what we're getting. The work is adequate, but impersonal. They treat us like just another corporate account, not like actual people who need reliable vehicles. I'm not sure how I can help with that, Lucas said. I'm just a small shop. I don't have the capacity to service 200 vehicles. Okay, what if I helped you expand? Lucas, I've done my research on you. I've talked to your customers, looked at your reputation in the community. You're known for honest work, fair prices, and treating people with respect. Those are exactly the qualities I want in a service provider for my company. Mrs. Ashford, Victoria. Please, Victoria, I appreciate the thought, but I'm a one-man operation. I have one assistant who works part-time. There's no way I could handle a contract that size. What if you hired more staff? What if I provided upfront funding to help you expand your facility and purchase additional equipment? What if we structured this as a true partnership where you maintain your independence and integrity, but have the resources to grow into something bigger? Lucas was quiet, his mind racing. Why would you do all this? Because you drove through a blizzard to help a stranger without expecting anything in return. Because I want to work with people who have integrity and compassion. Because my father always taught me that the best business relationships are built on mutual respect and genuine care for people's well-being. And because, honestly, I think you're sitting on untapped potential that deserves support. I need to think about this. Of course, take all the time you need. But Lucas, I'm serious about this offer. You helped me when I needed it most, when I thought no one would come. You got me home to my daughter. That's not something I'll ever forget, and I'd be honored to help you build something meaningful in return. Over the following days, Lucas thought hard about Victoria's offer. Expansion had always seemed impossible, a dream too big for someone like him. But with the right support and resources, he could hire mechanics he knew were looking for work, could serve more of the community, could build something that would last beyond just him. He called Victoria back a week later and accepted her proposal, the expansion of Bennett's auto service happened gradually over the next year. Victoria provided the initial capital, but Lucas maintained ownership and control, ensuring the business kept the personal touch that had made it successful. He hired 3 additional mechanics, all local people he knew and trusted. He expanded the facility, adding more bays and better equipment. And true to Victoria's word, Ashford Industries became his largest client, providing steady work that allowed him to stabilize, grow, while still serving his regular customers. Victoria and Lucas stayed in touch, their relationship evolving from a chance encounter into genuine friendship. Sophia occasionally visited the shop, fascinated by the tools and vehicles, always clutching the doll from that snowy night one evening. About a year after the blizzard, Victoria invited Lucas to dinner at her home. It was casual, just the 3 of them, but Lucas noticed how comfortable he felt with this unlikely family, how Sophia had started asking when Mr. Lucas was coming to visit again, how Victoria's smile seemed more relaxed around him than in their professional interactions. After dinner, while Sophia played in the other room, Victoria poured coffee and looked at Lucas seriously. Can I tell you something I realized recently? Of course, you came to help me that night. I was in crisis. Not just stranded on a highway, but drowning in a life that felt impossible. New job, new city, daughter struggling, trying to be everything to everyone and failing at all of it. I was wearing a dress that cost more than some people make in a month, driving a car I bought to project success, coming from a party where I smiled and networked while inside I was screaming. I didn't realize things were that hard for you. I'm good at hiding it. But that night, when you came through that storm without hesitation, without judgment about my situation or my choices, you reminded me what actually matters. Not the title or the salary or the image. Just showing up for the people who need you and doing the right thing, even when it's hard. I think you already knew that, Lucas said, quietly. You braved that storm trying to get home to Sophia. You were willing to risk everything to keep a promise to your daughter. That's what mattered to you. Maybe, But you showed me I didn't have to do everything alone. That asking for help wasn't weakness. That there were still good people in the world who would come when you called. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Victoria spoke again, her voice softer now. Lucas, can I ask you a personal question? Sure. Are you seeing anyone? Dating, I mean. Lucas felt his heart rate pick up. No, I've been pretty focused on work. Haven't really made time for relationships. Would you consider making time? With me, I mean. I know it might complicate our business relationship. And I know Sophia and I come as a package deal. But I've been thinking about you a lot. About how you make me laugh even in crisis. About how Sophia lights up when you're around. About how I feel more like myself with you than I have with anyone in years. Lucas looked at this remarkable woman. A CEO who wasn't afraid to be vulnerable. A mother who would brave blizzards for her daughter's happiness. Someone who saw potential in a small-town mechanic and chose to invest in his dreams. I'd like that, he said simply. I'd like that very much. Their relationship developed slowly and carefully, both of them aware of the complications and determined to navigate them thoughtfully. Lucas met Victoria's colleagues and learned to navigate the corporate world that was so different from his own. Victoria spent time at the shop, learning about cars and getting to know Lucas's employees. Sophia became the true architect of their relationship, unconsciously pulling them together with her joy at having Lucas around, her requests that he read her bedtime stories or help with school projects, the little girl who had been struggling with the move, and her parents. Divorce began to flourish with this expanded family. 2 years after that blizzard night, Lucas and Victoria were married in a small ceremony that reflected both their worlds. Mechanics from Bennett's Auto Service stood alongside executives from Ashford Industries. The reception was held in the renovated space of Lucas's expanded shop, transformed with elegant decorations that somehow worked perfectly in the industrial setting. Sophia served as flower girl, proudly carrying the very doll Lucas had helped deliver that snowy night, explaining to anyone who would listen that this was the doll that started everything in his toast. Lucas reflected on that night when I drove through that blizzard. I thought I was just helping a stranded motorist get home to her daughter. I had no idea I was meeting my future wife, my future stepdaughter, Kay, and the person who would believe in my dreams enough to help make them reality. Victoria, you've taught me that sometimes helping others isn't just about what we give them. It's about what we gain when we open ourselves to genuine connection. Thank you for seeing potential in a small-town mechanic. Thank you for trusting me with your heart and with Sophia's. And thank you for that phone call on a snowy night that changed everything. Victoria's toast was equally moving. Lucas, you came when no one else would. You asked for nothing in return. You treated me with kindness and respect when you had no idea who I was beyond a desperate voice on the phone. That night taught me that real strength isn't measured in titles or in bank accounts, but in the willingness to show up when someone needs help. You showed up for me, and you've kept showing up every day since. You've been a father to Sophia in all the ways that matter. You've been a partner who supports my dreams while pursuing your own. You've reminded me daily that success means nothing if you don't have people to share it with who truly see you. I love you, not because you drove through a storm for me, but because you're the kind of person who would drive through a storm for anyone who needed help. That's who you are, and that's who I want to spend my life with. The business partnership between Bennett's Auto Service and Ashford Industries continued to thrive, now as a family enterprise rather than just a corporate contract. Lucas brought his understanding of honest work and treating people well into conversations about company culture. Victoria brought her business acumen to help Lucas continue expanding strategically. But more importantly, they built a family based on mutual respect, genuine love, and the understanding that sometimes the most important thing you can do is show up when someone needs you, whether that's through a blizzard or through the daily challenges of life together. Sophia grew up telling the story of how her parents met, a snowy night, a broken down car, Kay, and a mechanic who drove through a blizzard to deliver a doll and ended up delivering so much more years later. When Sophia was applying to colleges and writing essays about people who inspired her, she wrote about Lucas and the lessons she learned from his decision to help her mother, that the measure of a person isn't found in their wealth or status, but in their willingness to show up for others when it matters most. Two brave storms, both literal and metaphorical, because someone needs help. To see the humanity in strangers and treat them with dignity and compassion. Lucas kept that essay framed in his office, a reminder that the choices we make in crisis moments, the decision to help or to walk away, ripple out in ways we can never fully predict. He had driven through a blizzard to deliver a toy to a little girl, never knowing that the girl's mother would become his wife, his business partner, and his greatest advocate. And Victoria kept the doll, long after Sophia had outgrown playing with dolls, as a reminder of the night when a stranger's kindness changed the course of their lives and taught her that asking for help wasn't weakness, but wisdom, and that the best relationships were built not on perfection, but on showing up, even through storms, especially through storms, for the people who mattered most. If this story reminded you that acts of service and showing up when others need help can transform lives in unexpected ways, and that real connection happens when we see each other's humanity beyond titles and circumstances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who has shown up for you in difficult times, and subscribe to our channel for more stories about compassion, unexpected connections, and the power of helping others without expecting anything in return. Leave a comment below about a time when someone went out of their way to help you, or when helping a stranger led to something meaningful. Your stories remind us all that we're capable of being the answer to someone's desperate prayer, and that the storms we brave for others often lead us exactly where we need to be.